Today's topic: doctors, divorce, and dollars. Your no drama guide to getting through divorce. Yes, not my favorite topic to walk through, but unfortunately, it's part of the world that we live in today. And if you are going through it or you know someone going through it, there is a whole level of not only financially draining, but emotionally draining steps that you need to follow. So in today's video, my goal is to walk you through a few steps to keep in mind, give you some food for thought, some tidbits to think through as you're going through this, or share this with someone that you do know that's going through this. But we're going to walk through some steps, try to remove the drama from it. I know it's not easy, it's not fun, not a good topic, but unfortunately, it's something again that we do go through in today's world. So I think the best news we have out of this, especially for our community, the physician community, physicians actually have a pretty low divorce rate compared to the rest of society. About a 20% divorce rate for most physicians, about 1 in 5, where still trending towards about 50% for everyone else. So at the end of the day, physicians technically should not have to deal with it as often. But if you're watching this as a physician, or even our dentists, our vets, our attorneys that tune in, really, the high income accumulators that join us now on YouTube, it's a popular topic. And again, whether it's you, hopefully it's not you, but someone in your close circle is likely going through a divorce, is going through a divorce. So our goal is to give you some steps to keep in mind. And ideally remove the drama, maybe remove some of the stress to let you know, hey, it's okay, it's normal, here's what to expect. So let's get into that, all coming up next. All right, before we get into it, as always, quick favor to ask before we hit the content. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so now. Do that below. You can also click on the bell icon, get a notification every time we release a new weekly video. If you're also looking for a new financial advisor, you like financial advisors that wear floral pattern shirts, you can always schedule an icebreaker call on our website, wealthkill.com, free introductory call to make sure it'd be a good fit for both of us. That's it. That's the pitch. All right. So first up, I listed this one as business, not personal. I know what you're probably thinking, Chad. It's divorce. It's as personal as it gets. You are correct. But you need to treat this more as a business transaction at this point. And I think it almost allows you to remove some of the emotion. So some of the notes I wrote down here is you got to be level-headed. You got to be calm. I wrote a little note here. Be very, very careful on what you text from this moment forward, what you email from this point forward. Whatever you text or email, you need to be comfortable that if they're going to put it on a giant projector in front of a whole room of people, would you be okay with that text or email being read? If the answer is no, do not send it, or what I like to say, a sleep on it rule. Don't send it while emotions are hot. So again, staying level-headed, stay calm, hire a divorce attorney. I'm somewhat shocked how often we will see individuals that try to go through it on their own. I guess if things are very, let's just say that there's not much assets, there's not much net worth or anything of that nature. Sure, maybe there's easier ways to do it. But I do think always having an attorney is a very good idea here in terms of just understanding how practices are valued, how certain assets are valued. You want to make sure that someone can come in and review that. Not uncommon to have financial advisors nearby to help get things organized, a good accountant to get things organized. So keep that in mind. The other thing I noted here is one that we've seen with unfortunate clients that have gone through this. Try to see if you could take advantage of private mediation. I wouldn't say meditation, but private mediation instead of a judge. Having a judge decide your entire financial fate in a 5-minute window is not ideal for a lot of us. So if you can get into the private mediation route, I do highly suggest that, at least based on what we've seen from current clients and feedback we've gotten back from that. But that is a much better option to look through if you can. A lot more private, a lot more personal. I know that the topic of this one is business, not personal, but you know what I mean in terms of walking through those steps there. So step 1 in the no drama guide is go at this more of a business transaction, not personal. Try to keep emotions out of it. Watch text, watch emails. That's going to be very important from this point forward. All right. Number 2, I listed this one as financials to the surface, meaning that anything you have below the surface is going to come up. So get ready for it. Now, ideally, if you already work with a financial advisor, you probably have a good understanding of how these things work. But there are some things to really keep in mind here. I think historically we always think of like, oh, it's 50-50. And that, depending on length of marriage and a lot of factors. I am not a divorce attorney, which is why you should hire a divorce attorney. But you want to understand how this could all shake out. And things are going to be valued differently. If you're sitting there with a private practice, right, they could have essentially forensic accountants come in and go through things. It could get very detailed, and you need to be prepared for that. This isn't like, hey, we can go hide our money in Swiss bank accounts, or you name a weird island. That's not the point here, right? It's bringing to your attention that every single number in your lives is going to come up, and it's not going to always feel like this 50-50 split. For example, you might have this beautiful, let's just say one beautiful brokerage account, and it's worth $3 million. And in your head, that's all liquidity. You're like, that's what I want. That's the nest egg. But here you are as a partner in this practice, or maybe a sole owner of a practice, that's also ends up being valued at $3 million. It's still a 50-50 split if you keep the practice and get none of those taxable assets. Bring in the home equity, bring in any other accounts. So there's a lot of moving parts. So you need to be prepared for that in terms of it might not just be this even split of like everything, because how are you going to get out of private practice? Like you own those shares. It can't just transfer to your ex-spouse. So anything that's unique like that. Now, clearly, if you're two W-2 employees, you rent, you have $1 million in the brokerage account. Sure, it could be as simple as you each get $500,000, move on, and it's over. But all the financial data will come up. Again, this is, I would argue, I think there's a lot of good times to have a financial planner, but having a financial planner that can also see everything. We've done numerous snapshots to clients and even they would share with their attorneys on everything that we can see on our side. Clearly, links and accounts, making sure all the data is up to date. But attorneys will dig through this, making sure that everything's organized. I think it gets more unique when you have hard to value assets, more in terms of like, hey, practices where I think business ownership, hard to value that. But number 2 in the no drama guide is financials are going to come to the surface. You need to be prepared to do the homework to prepare that, to actually show that. You need to be prepared for some of the numbers that could come up. While you may think your practice is valued at this, in this example, you might be trying to lower the valuation, but forensic accountants can come in and put out some numbers that you weren't expecting. So just be prepared for that. But number 2 on the list is financials to the surface. All right, number 3 on the list, kids in custody. Probably the absolute worst part, the most emotionally draining part of a divorce will be this part of the conversation. Now, whether you're doing the private mediation route, whether you're doing the judge route, most like the idea of split custody. Now, clearly, there's going to be a lot that's involved there. And whatever the outcome is does not determine what you are as a parent. We don't have this type of deep conversation with clients often, but we have, right? But if you are a busy physician and working crazy hours and your spouse is a stay-at-home spouse, the custody may not seem like a 50-50 fair split, but that's more or less likely based on just the scheduling that you have. So when you walk through this, I know we use the term business versus personal, right? And this is usually if someone's trying to throw a mean punch, this is likely the section you're trying to rip someone's heart out, right? So level-headed, keep calm, go through the conversations. But remember, most systems out there, again, whether this is the judge-based system, whether this is the private side of it, want custody to be split. They want the kids to see both of their parents, right? So just be prepared for this one. This is going to be emotionally draining. Ideally, it's just as smooth as we said. But from our clients that have gone through this, that's always the part that it doesn't seem like there's ever a good outcome. Even if it's a 50-50 split, it still feels like you want more, right? I don't want to split my Christmases. I don't want to split my Thanksgivings. It's going to be a tough section. So in the no drama guide, I'm not going to be able to give you a good answer here, but I just want to point out, preparing yourself for what that could be. Again, it's not determining what you are as a parent, but just more or less in terms of the split based on timing and things of that nature. But number 3 on the list, kids custody, be prepared for that one. With this one too, it was another reminder as I'm reading through my notes that I wrote up. When this is all said and done, also don't forget to update beneficiaries. Don't forget to update your powers of attorney. If you just went through a divorce, you likely don't want your ex-spouse listed as the primary beneficiary on all your accounts. You likely don't want them listed in your will, your healthcare power of attorney, your financial power of attorney, the one making your healthcare directive decisions. Make sure you get that updated ASAP. That's one that, there's so many other things going on. We kind of forget those things, but update the beneficiaries, update your estate documents, update anything that would have had your ex-spouse on there. But for whatever reason, this section just kind of triggered that thought in my head. So that's number 3 on the list, kids in custody, but don't forget to update beneficiaries and your estate documents in particular so that your ex-spouse is no longer listed on those. Number 4 on the list, take care of yourself. I would love to tell you that you're going to get through this and it's not going to bother you at all. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you're extremely strong. But for most, you need to prioritize yourself and taking care of yourself. Whether that's a therapist, whether that's a counselor, you need to have someone to talk to, a trusted family member, trusted friend. Make sure that you have someone to talk to. But also don't forget the things that just make us healthy humans in general to get through these tough phases. Keep your body moving, get into some exercise routines, eat good food, eat real food, get sleep. Get sleep. I know as a physician, you're thinking, Chad, I already went through medical school, residency, fellowship. Like I can function on 4 hours of sleep. Sure, maybe you can. But in this time of your life, why don't we maybe just try to sleep closer to about 8 hours, right? The best we can, 7-8 hours to give your body a chance to go through all this and allow your brain to recover through a lot of this. This is a topic that I love no matter what. Again, as a society, I don't think we care enough about ourselves in terms of physical well-being, proper diets, things of that nature. But this would be a great time to start to build some new habits, in terms of going to the gym, eating healthy, maybe cooking your own foods, whatever you can do to take care of yourself. Again, mental side of it, physical side of it, this is the time to do it. So number 4 on the list, take care of yourself. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take some time off. It's okay. Get through these tough phases, coming on this other side of this even stronger. All right, number 5 on the list, the financial advisor side of it. Rebuild, right? Rebuild for you now. So we had a financial plan. It was 2 people in this plan. Now it's you. Clearly, any kids as well. This is a chance to rebuild. Now, I already went through some of the things like updating beneficiaries, updating state documents, but it also changed your entire financial plan, right? Maybe you needed $100,000 per year in spending. Well, now you're like, I can easily live off $50,000. That's probably a very low number for many of you, but it was a quick number that came to my head. But things have changed. Now, remember, tax codes will also change. Tax code will not be as friendly to a single, maybe head of household will help a little bit, but keep that in mind. But it's time to rebuild your plan. I can tell you one of the most common individuals that walks through our doors, usually a little bit closer to like mid-career, is a divorced individual, right? They just had everything as one, and now they've separated and they need to rebuild. So take time to rebuild. This is one of those ones that we'll tell clients, hey, take a deep breath, clearly get your assets to the right place, but you don't have to create a financial plan 2 days after your divorce. Take a deep breath, settle in, of course, get assets organized. There's something there called a quadro if you're moving assets. If there's alimony, child support, all of those things, this is a really good time if you've not met with a financial planner to meet with a financial planner to get this next chapter of your life organized, build that foundation strong, and then get after it. But again, it changes a lot of your numbers. The income required to hit the numbers, the future expenses, current expenses, how much life insurance do you need? How much disability insurance do you need? Again, going through beneficiary updates, a lot of things will change here. So take a deep breath. Once things calm down a little bit, get into that rebuild phase. And then last but not least on this one is, it's okay to discuss something called a prenup, right? Marriage number 1 or 2 or 3 did not work out. That's okay. Life happens, right? But if you're watching this video as a high-income professional, right, usually my physicians, but I know we get our dentists, our vets, our attorneys as well, really any high-income professionals in the accumulation phase of life, prenups should not be a crazy topic. It's for whatever reason, it's still taboo in today's world. But remember, if you're coming through later in life after your first marriage or even more than that, likely income is higher, assets are higher, there's likely kids, if not numerous kids. the next chapter of getting remarried is going to have more layers to it than what it did before. So having that prenup conversation is certainly something you should keep on your radar. Now, I say that even for first marriages, depending on when that marriage is occurring, if you both come into it with nothing, maybe not. But for whatever reason, prenups are still somewhat of a taboo topic in this country, maybe in the world. I only know U.S. But don't be scared to have a prenup conversation with one, going through the thoughts on your own, but two, with your next spouse. So that's number 6 on the list. I initially had 5. I added 6 in there. Just kind of thinking through. We just went through all this tough phases and the no drama steps to getting through divorce. Well, let's think about, heaven forbid this happens again, steps to have in place. Prenup would be a good place to start. So there you have it. Doctors, divorce, and dollars. Your no drama guide to getting through it. 6 things to keep in mind. Again, main things I highlighted numerous times here is level-headed, calm to the best of your ability. It is a highly emotional topic. It takes a little bit to get through as well, but stay level-headed, stay calm. Again, it's a topic that no one likes, but I will say for my physician community, 20%, 1 in 5, not bad. Not bad compared to more than double that for the rest. So hopefully you're not affected by this, or maybe you're just watching this because you're helping out a family member or a close colleague, but there you have it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, drop those below. I love getting back to your questions. And then any other questions, comments, we also like to build new content from that as well. So as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Right around 15 minutes or so, right in there, our sweet spot. And as always, I will catch you on the next video.